Hey everyone, this is Bic Benedict. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 1 on very hard difficulty. This is Chapter 4, Imperial City, Infiltration. So we have a couple of enemies to dispatch here, 3 in total. So I believe I do the Blade of Neridi move right there. That's performed by pressing X, Y, X, 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 X. So with those two guys taken care of, we're going to go into Tyron for the first time in our campaign. Almost went on the roof right there. You can't, though. So this is a pretty straightforward level, but it might be hard to the uninitiated. But that's just how Ninja Gaiden is. You don't get good at it overnight. You have to play it for months. And I've been playing it for years. And I'll play it for many more years. It's that good. So here's another little cluster of 3 of these guys. So did the wide parry right there. I'm going to try to isolate. See, I'm holding block as I'm rolling through those orbs. That's how they're not coming into me. Even when you're rolling, you can still hold the block button. It's actually called the reverse wind, which Mirai taught you in Chapter 2, the very beginning. So here's the guillotine throw, and I'm going to pull up the menu just to show what exactly it says. It goes right to it. So while jumping forward, press Y. Well, it doesn't say Y. It just says while jumping forward, then press Y. So I'm going to demonstrate it over here. That's the same command input for the Flying Swallow. But I think if you're close to the enemies, it's not going to do the Flying Swallow, it's going to do the guillotine throw. So I'm not really going to mess about with it too much. I don't really care about... I mean, the guillotine throw is, you know, a trademark move. You're going to have to... You can't survive without that move in Ninja Gaiden 2 on Master Ninja. But here, it's fine. Yeah, so we have a big battle out here. We got a couple of these rocket launcher guys. They have very little HP, although it's offset by their capacity to harm you more than any of the other enemies. So we just need to clear this section. And I'm not sure if there should be a Fiend Challenge in this area when we come back to this in Chapter Tyron Under Alert. So you could also run back and save it because there's no save point anywhere except in the beginning of the level, except when we get near to Han's bar. But we're going to have to acquire the Lily Key first. Or not the Lily Key, the Pegasus Key, I believe it is. So over here we would ordinarily have the Lunar, but instead they're going to give us one of the pieces of the Serpent pedestal stone tablet. Okay. So you can open this door now, and then we're going to go back, and we're going to get some items. We're going to be also dealing with these enemies again. How the enemies work is that since this is an open world game, enemies are going to be specific to locations, although when you get into new chapters you might find that there are different types of enemies in the chapter, but they'll be placed in the same manner. Also, down this alley, there's nothing to the left, but I was just trying to just show you guys that there's nothing. When you get over here, you're going to fire some arrows at the target across the way. So when you see that scroll being thrown, that's a good time to see, because you could shoot right there from behind the cover. And I always wait for the orb to come out of that guy, and then to do this jump right here, I'm going to do it. It's do the dash and then press XY. Normally you'll land and do the helmet splitter right on this guy, but the important thing to note about this is that once you jump on the cable, do not press the right trigger, because then the mode will go opposite you, and it'll focus on 2 enemies who are behind us, and the only reason that they're doing nothing right now and not shooting at us is because I'm not looking at them. So it's an issue of not having the enemies aggro because we're not looking at them. And that's how it is. You could be in their theoretical line of sight, but until you move the camera on them, they're not going to engage you, even if you're in very close proximity to them. So that's how that worked. When you saw that open the box, you saw enemies spawn there. They were trust me, they were up here the whole time I was crossing that cable. But they were just doing nothing. They were awaiting instructions from the game. And they only, like I said, they only move when you turn around. So here's another Life of the Gods. I think this should be our 6th one. I am going to pull up the sheet pretty soon and show you what's going on with that. But ordinarily there would be a save point right over here, but they didn't put a save point in until Sigma. The other save point, though, we're going to get one, but it's down the way. It's actually to the left up here, but this door, it requires us to open from the other side. So you would just take a left here and there's a save point over here. So that's the one I use for a lot of my saves. So I was wrong about us getting the nunchucks from Mirai. They just give them to you in from that corpse right there. I think on other difficulties they might give them to you earlier. Okay, so once you get down here, you're going to have that cutscene, and then the enemies won't spawn until you attempt to go down to this area. So you'll get a scene. And I was trying to determine who was down there, but I couldn't move a camera since we can't have a camera in this game. So there's the Blade of Neridi again. That's pretty much, you're doing a sword attack instead of the body slam attack. So practice with the counterattacks and prioritize guys like this who are tossing grenades at you. It's definitely a risk versus reward thing with the counterattacks, unless you're proficient at them like I am, because you'll end up getting grabbed. So once this guy is slain here, or whoever is the last guy for you, the gates are going to raise. And you could do this in several ways, but this is just the path that I'm always accustomed to doing things. So this way up here, going to hang a left here, going to have some enemies on the stairs. Then we're going to have some enemies that are pretty tough. They're the gray ninjas that toss incendiary shurikens at us. And these are the guys that ordinarily would be placed in Chapter 1. But there are no flame ninjas in this version of Ninja Gaiden. They only put those guys in the next game. But these are the kind of the equivalent of those guys, but they're less difficult, but they're still challenging. So I like to keep my defense up pretty strongly when I'm fighting these guys and do Y parries, which is a stronger parry. And watch when I get hit over here. Watch the damage you receive from these guys with one of their combos. Incidentally, they won't break your guard. But if you get hit by an incendiary shuriken, your guard does get broken for the moment. So the damage I received right over here somewhere. And it was because I let down my guard. See, half my life gone in a blink of an eye. So you could really just be dead so quickly in this with versus an enemy like this. But never see how I moved right there because I was right on top of the incendiary shuriken. I did not need to be on top of it when it detonated. So these guys, just keep your guard up, and pretty much like the best offense is a defense on those guys. You know, sorry to have to speak so colloquial and in cliches, but that's pretty much how those guys work. So let's apply these things. The lives of 1,000 gods, apply that, and then apply the spirit of the devils. So we'll have 2 flames in our key gauge. And also, I'm going to show you how many life of the gods I have. 6, right? 6, okay. So hop on down here, and then we're going to go back the way we were. But feel free to go back and save it anytime you want to. Okay, so we're going to pull the latch down. So now we could open this door anytime we want to. And some of these kunai scrolls, I think I get this one. Sometimes I just get them just so they're off the map for good, so I don't have to look at them anymore. So there's a golden Scarab right there. The door right there with the crack in it, we'll have to get the Warhammer to open that. Or the Dabalahro or incendiary shurikens. You want to come on over here now and get the fight to spawn in the nearby where the rings are, then the enemies will jump down. So it's just 3 more of these guys. So again, the best offense is a strong defense here. I'm getting tagged by incendiary shurikens, but it's not as bad as in Ninja Gaiden 2. Not at all. So keep your guard up. See, they like to gang up on you. just watch their combos. See, their combos, you can get used to their combos very quickly. Just keep your guard up and just see how they're hitting and see when they stop to hit, because then that gives you a chance to hit yourself. But always watch out for who's doing what else. You know, even if you're trying to hit one guy, somebody else might be trying to throw a dagger at you. And these guys are not anybody you should really be concerned with too much. I mean, I would actually have welcomed these guys in the first chapter, because they're, I don't know, the first chapter just seemed too easy for me, but on Black and Sigma it's always the opposite. It's just too hard. I don't know, so maybe we could have some kind of a middle ground somewhere. So the bolt's removed. We're going to go over here, and you're going to get attacked by 2 more of those gray ninjas over here, so be wary of those guys. See how strong that parry is right there? And then once they're on the ground, you can go in for an Azuna drop, or if it's just one guy, you could stab him on the ground without worrying about the other guy. So in theory, all you would really have to do, if it was just one-on-one with you and him, one parry would win the fight, because then you could just go over there and stab him. And even if it took 2 stabs, it's not like he won't get up between the first stab. He'll stay down. So you also noticed when I jumped right there, I pressed XY. XY just gives you a little bit more range when you're jumping. And we could also throw shurikens too to give us even more height on our jumps, which I'll be showing you guys later in the campaign. Okay, so pull this switch. This is going to open the door. Okay, I guess we didn't need a key for that door. It just opened with that lever. So definitely grab this. Those are expensive items, very expensive. They're almost as costly as the Talismans of Rebirth. So you're not going to get any gray ninjas the first time you enter Pleasure Street, but we'll have to come down the same street, Pleasure Street, again in a minute here. So don't go all the way up. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I like to get the windmill shuriken before the cutscene. It's no real big deal. I mean, but don't forget to get the golden scarab over here. And this will give us, I'm not sure about the count. It never tells you the count. It just tells you how many you have on hand. We are going to be able to get something. So in this version of the game and in Black, you have to get a ticket from Hans. Or excuse me, to go into Hans' bar, you need a ticket from. You need a ticket. So the only way you can get one in this game is to go shopping, and you'll get something. So I believe just to get a ticket, you have to at least have the money to buy something. But it's not any kind of game-breaking glitch, because you could just kill one enemy and have enough to buy an item, even if it's just an arrow. Muramasa will still give you the ticket when you try to leave. But what they did in Sigma is they took out the business of needing a ticket, and they just did a kind of a boss fight with a couple motorcycle guys, which I think is pretty cool. But they're hard to deal with. Those guys are kind of hard to deal with. Okay, so I left the shopping session in just so you can see the whole business of what happens with the ticket. And there's no boss on this level either. This is one of the last tasks. So I'm just going to stock up on these. These were 1,000 per spiritual life elixir in the previous version, so everything is more expensive in this game. You could carry fewer items, but that doesn't mean you can't still carry quite a lot, in my opinion. I think you can carry up to two reviving scrolls, Talismans of Rebirth. In the previous version, it was 3. Okay, so now as we go down Pleasure Street again, we'll have these guys to deal with. 3 of them, I believe. So see how they flank me right there? Feel perfectly at ease using Nimpo here, because you could just fill your Nimpo up at the Xbox logo where the windmill shuriken was anytime you want to from here on out until the end of the game. So if you do want Nimpo considered in your final tally sheet, fill up too, so you can get to Master Ninja rank as I did. Oh, I missed with the UT. That always sucks. And then I'm going to stab this guy, or do XXY attacks on him. And that's going to be the conclusion of the level. I'll see you in the City of Fiends, Chapter 5.